Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be farming for spins, of course, because that's how I made bank and how I intend to get 200 mil in all skills without taking a single donation, unlike Suomi. If only he had farm spins like me, he would be as rich and powerful as I am in game. I already have all 200 mil stats that are buyable banked, and now I'm just saving up money to buy combat potions and familiars to train Slayer and all the other combat skills to 200 mil. I kid you guys, I would never actually buy spins, nor would I actually go ahead and use them for my advantage to beat other players in the game, because there's no sense of accomplishment if you bought your stats. It's just like botting, in my opinion. It's the same thing, there's no actual work on your part going into it, so there's no point in me gloating about it. Now, I do use the free spins daily because you know what, any sensible person would. If they're there and they're free, you might as well just get them out of the way. And of course, if I did get, let's say, 200 mil or something, that would go towards me maxing out, and it's kind of hard to pass up. I mean, do you do the moral thing and protest, if you want to put it that way, against Jaggeds by not using them, or are you going to use them anyways because they're just there and you can? Well, most sensible people will say, yeah, I'm just going to use them anyways because, you know, it's not like Jaggeds is monitoring all the accounts that are spinning. Now, I might get corrected on this and be told, well, Jaggeds knows if everyone's spinning or not. Well, you know what, even if they do, a couple people not spinning isn't really going to get a point across. It's more something that you'd have to divulge into the forums and spend countless hours making threads about why it's bad. And although people have already done that, they've already said that they're not going to remove it. And there's also a little thing called investors. Now these investors, they have 55% control of the company. That 5% is the control on what happens in the company. And obviously if Jaggeds does not own that, they can't really say, hey, we're getting rid of Soph, or hey, we're getting rid of Solomon's store, because if the investors want it in game, it's kind of staying in game. Now, that brings me to another topic I'll cover in the next clip because I still don't know what's wrong with my mic and it might cut out at any second. Alright guys, this is where I break down something and talk about it academically, you could say. Let's say Jaggeds hypothetically was running out of money. Even with their investors playing a part and all this stuff, what if Jaggeds needed to sell spins and have Solomon's store just to collect in a form of donations, in a sense, in order to upkeep their company and run the game? Now, if that was the case, I think players would be less inclined to jump on the bandwagon and hate them and call them real-world traitors and all this stuff and saying they're ruining the game. Now, in my opinion, Wheel of Fortune does, in a sense, ruin the game for those who can make it pay to win. Now, not a lot of people are going out there and spending their allowance or this and that on spins daily. It's usually the people who have the money to waste in the begin with. I mean, there's always going to be families out there that have disposable incomes, and then they can go and say, hey, Timmy, you want to go buy some spins? And Timmy says yes, of course, because he loves to spin the wheel and get those common slot items every day. So, in one way, you could look at it as maybe they are trying to collect extra revenue to keep up the game. Now, don't quote me on that because it could be completely false, and it's just really my idea, in a sense, my opinion, my theory, whatever you want to put it as. But if they did remove Wheel of Fortune and use Solomon's store and came out openly and said, okay guys, we need Solomon's store to stay because we need extra revenue and everything's going to be purely cosmetic, you don't have to worry about it giving advantage in game. Now, if they did that, I think there would be a lot of support from the community because it's not affecting the game. No one's telling you to go buy the tropical underwear, whatever, the silly emotes to look better when you teleport. No one's forcing anyone. It's not given to anyone in form of advertisement like Wheel of Fortune is for the most part, because you have to see that every day. Sure, you can see Solomon's General Store there too, but like I was saying, getting back to the cosmetic point, it doesn't affect the gameplay and stuff like that. I mean, you can't wear the stuff in PvP, obviously, so you're not gaining any real advantage in game. other than looking different than others if you want to. Now, that's completely fine with me. I mean, if they want to sell stuff like that, or even bank spaces, I mean, bank spaces, that's not really a big advantage in game. I mean, if you have a lot of shit and you need more space, well, go ahead. I personally don't have a lot in my bank. I have everything that I absolutely need, and that's it. So if I'm not training woodcut, I might not keep my dragon hatchet. If I'm not training fishing, I might get rid of all my bait. Stuff like that. Some people love to collect their items, and some people love to have hordes of shit because they're a hoarder in real life, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. You can have as much bank space as you want, and if you don't have enough, then go buy it, right? I'm not encouraging people to buy from the stores or anything like that. That is completely up to you. But as I was saying, my main point and premise here is if Giants really needed extra money and this is their form of doing it without coming straight out and saying, hey, look, we're broke, well, then this is a better way to do it, and using Solomon's store would be great instead of this Wheel of Fortune. On the same sort of note, I'd also like to point out that apparently there's going to be a bot newt soon. Botany Bay, where this giant claw is going to grab out bots randomly because now they can detect them all or something like that, and it's going to toss them there, and they get 2 warnings. And I found that kind of stupid that they even give them 1 warning. I mean, most botters are disposable income per se. The guy who runs the script on those accounts doesn't care what happens to him because he still makes money at the end of the day off the other 100 bots he has. So I think it's kind of silly that they even allow a second chance. I mean, people have had a long time to stop botting. People have a long time to take advantage of Jadiots' one-time amnesty, if you don't know about that. People who were caught botting around the first bot nuke, they were given a chance to stop botting, and they wouldn't lose their account per se, especially if you were like a legit account that decided, oh, I really hate Hunter, so I'm going to try botting it while I still can. Well, they still gave people like that a chance, and that also makes me think maybe they have Wheel of Fortune and whatever Solomon's General Store, because maybe the lawsuits and all that with the botting issues has lost some money. I mean, people always look at the big picture and say, oh, well, they're getting membership, so membership from bots covers their expenses for this and that. Well, that's not necessarily true. If you take certain companies to court, you can be spending thousands and thousands of dollars that you don't have to settle some stupid disputes. I mean, it costs a few $1,000s to take another citizen to court. Let's say they bump your car or something like that. And lawyers, let alone, cost quite a bit of money. So we don't really know what the whole issue with their finances are, so it's kind of hard to really judge why Wheel of Fortune that exists, other than they're trying to get extra revenue for some reason. Now that's about it. I don't really like to talk about stuff like that too much because it is highly controversial and there's so many different opinions. Some people like it, some people hate it, and you know what, my opinion is really neutral. It's your money. Whatever you do with it is your choice. Now, I don't really support making the game pay to win, but I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. If you really want to quit the game or you don't enjoy it, then that's your choice as well. I'm not going to quit because of something like Wheel of Fortune and that, because I know for a fact not too many people are going to exploit it for their own purposes. It's only going to be the people who can really have a disposable income. And there's highly doubt there's a lot of people with disposable incomes playing this game. But anyways, I am going to be finishing up my Slayer, and hopefully I don't get another Dust Devil's task because I've gotten so many in the past, and it's just getting really annoying to get them 2-3 times in a row now. Haven't had Abyssal Demons or Greater Demons, anything that's slightly enjoyable for a long time, so hopefully looking forward to my next task being a good one. And on to that note, I hope you guys all have a great night and enjoy the video.